Right now on Denver 7 News at 7 o'clock on Local 3, a Denver neighborhood rocked by a shooting investigation that spanned several blocks.
We stepped outside to see what was going on and saw the bullet hole in the side of the house.
We are talking to neighbors now about the gun violence happening so close to their homes.
Lawmakers from both parties are set to meet today to talk about gun reform after mass shootings in 3 different states. Our team in Washington is breaking down where Congress could find common ground.
And it's a moment the Avs have been waiting for years, even decades now. A trip to the Western Conference Finals, how the team is feeling ahead of their next challenge in the quest for the Stanley Cup. Should be a great battle on the ice.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Brian Sanders.
And I'm Nicole Brady. If you're heading out to Ball Arena tonight, you might miss a little rain out there, Katie, with the forecast today.
We are expecting some showers to form for the Denver area, mainly after 4 p.m. But for the end of the Avs game, more widespread rain is expected here in town. This morning, it's partly to mostly cloudy skies over the metro area. More sunshine off into the mountains. Downtown at 51 degrees, 49 out at DIA right now, with winds sustained from the northeast at 8 miles per hour. It will get breezier with increasing cloud coverage as we go through the afternoon. Right now, though, it's mild with 46 right now in Highlands Ranch, high 40s Thornton into Broomfield, cold into the high country with 20s and low 30s into many of our mountain towns. Your hourly planner for the metro area by 10 o'clock will hit 55 degrees. Daytime highs reaching the low 60s. There are those strong winds moving in by about 1 o'clock. Chance for a few light snow and rain showers over higher terrain into places like Rocky Mountain National Park, Estes Park, mainly over our higher mountain passes. That's where we'll see that snow accumulate. But still, some wet weather expected across the plains, the I-25 corridor and northeastern corner of Colorado through Wednesday morning. Anticipate some wetter weather as we start Wednesday, and then some drier conditions round out the week, Jason.
Yeah, and right now we do have some dry conditions up there in the high country, but that slop is on the way, and we could see some really slow traffic because of it at times when the weather really starts to move in the higher elevations. But right now, I-70 here at the Eisenhower Johnson tunnels looks just fine. Take a look at the drive that we have overall, and then here across 270, very typical westbound slowing, eastbound also pretty slow past the refinery. So you can see it on the map here this morning, whether it's there on 270, I-76, I-70. It's been real busy on that westbound side going on over to I-25. So pretty typical commute for you all the way into downtown. Some slow and go, stop and go traffic at times going all the way past Mile High, and then it starts to open up, and then you'll find another little pocket of slow and go traffic right around University Colorado Boulevard. That's going to develop to be a little bit heavier for you. Memphis and Quincy still dealing with the last of that crash that's down there, so it might slow you down slightly. To and from the airport, that looks good.
Some breaking news right now. Search and rescue crews in Pueblo have found the body of a missing boater. The man was on a boat with 12 other people when it capsized Sunday on the North Shore Marina near in Pueblo Reservoir. The body of 38-year-old Jessica Prindle of Pueblo West was recovered that night. 8 children and 3 adults were rescued from the water and were treated for hypothermia.
Well, this morning we're learning new details about a shooting in Denver's Central Park neighborhood that stretched across multiple blocks. Bullets ended up hitting a nearby home. Denver 7's Christian Lopez joins us with what neighbors are saying about this uptick in violence that has put their safety in jeopardy.
Yeah, Brian, and thankfully no one inside that house was hurt. And here's what we know about that shooting so far. It started Sunday afternoon in the parking lot of the Central Park Rec Center off of MLK. Police say a teenage girl was involved in a fight with someone else. At the scene there, you can see several evidence markers on the ground. Neighbors then say she took off and another car followed her onto 25th and Xenia, where neighbors say they heard gunshots as cars drove by, and at least one of those bullets flew into a home.
Sounded kind of like as if lightning struck the house and something electrical exploded or like a firework hit the house. We were freaked. I was especially freaked because I spent like 6 hours on the porch the day before, so I was like just happy to be inside, I guess.
Neighbors say the violence came to an end near 26th and Akron, where the girl crashed her car and ran across a field in search of help. A photo that was shared with us shows the car's back window completely blown out. The victim, a teenage girl, was injured, but she is expected to be okay. So far, no word on any suspects or any arrests, but police are asking anyone with information to call Crime Stoppers. Live in Denver this morning, I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
Thank you, Christian. Well, several metro cities are taking steps to help cut down on youth violence. It was just last week Aurora passed its youth violence prevention program, which expands partnerships between police, schools, mental health care providers, and other groups. Denver has had a similar program since 2019.
Well, one funeral is hard enough, but the community of Uvalde, Texas will spend the next several days saying goodbye to victims of the Robb Elementary School shooting. This week, services are planned for 11 children and teacher Irma Garcia. Yesterday, there were visitations for 2 of the children. One funeral home honored 10-year-old Amory Jo Garza. She made the honor roll just hours before she was killed. Visitation for another 10-year-old, Maite Rodriguez, was at the other Uvalde funeral home. Family members wore green tie-dye t-shirts showing the 10-year-old girl with angel wings. In the aftermath of the tragedy in Texas, as well as mass shootings in California and New York, a bipartisan group of lawmakers will talk today about passing new federal gun laws. Congress isn't in session, so members will meet over Zoom. Our Joe St. George takes a look at why this week is so critical for debate.
When I drive around this country, I really feel just how divided we are. Democrats are saying one thing on guns.
When in God's name are we going to stand up to the gun lobby?
Republicans another.
It's not effective. It doesn't prevent crime.
But after years of inaction and division on this issue, there really is this growing sense that something might soon change, either in Congress or at the Supreme Court. The catch? That change may be not what you're exactly thinking about.
This may be a moment when there's enough momentum.
Robin Thomas is executive director of the Giffords Law Center to Prevent Gun Violence, one of the nation's leading voices on the issue. He says for the moment, it appears there is a genuine effort happening in Congress to pass something. One possible compromise is emerging around a nationwide red flag law, which would allow guns to be seized by law enforcement if an individual is deemed a threat. Already, 19 states have their own version of the law on the books. Republican Senator Rick Scott of Florida signed a version of it into law in Florida when he was governor, fueling optimism. This week, even though the Senate is not in Washington, is believed to be a critical one for negotiations.
One of the difficulties of this work in these situations is that it is in the immediate aftermath of these tragic events that people are paying attention.
But remember when I told you this country is divided?
Put this back up.
And that's why I stopped by one of the leading gun instructors in Northern California for perspective.
So this is a Springfield. This is a Winchester 30-30. This is just a model 1911, okay?
And that's where I met Harold Johnson. He lives in a state where there is already a red flag law. A new nationwide one doesn't upset him as much, but what does bother him are calls to ban AR-15s like the one he's holding.
Harold, a lot of people watching this will say that gun is responsible for a lot of deaths.
It's the person who did it. Anybody can go into a school without this rifle and they can use a handgun. They can come in with a dagger.
Harold, like many gun-owning Americans who don't want new laws, is actually hoping more guns might be allowed for protection soon on American streets. He's waiting on a Supreme Court ruling this month that could force cities in states like New York and California to issue more concealed carry permits. In those states, you have to show a need for one right now, and local governments often deny those requests. Last fall, San Francisco had just 2 active concealed carry permits in the entire city. I'm Joe St. George reporting.
Switching gears to sports, the Colorado Avalanche are now 8 wins away from hoisting the Stanley Cup, which is closer than they've been in a long time. The Avs will play Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals tonight, taking on the Edmonton Oilers at Ball Arena, and the Avs hope their experience of being so close so many times before will pay off now.
The second round losses, but it felt like we were a better team each time we lost, if that makes any sense, and we're progressing and got a lot of leaders in the room now, so that helps a lot. We're not so young anymore, but obviously it's nice to finally break out a little bit and get closer to our goal here.
Yeah, puck drops tonight at 6, and if they win this series, they will play the winner of the Eastern Conference Finals between the New York Rangers and the 2-time defending Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning. Well, it was great to see the huge crowds out at the Boulder yesterday cheering each other on, and we want to say congratulations to the winners.
Yeah, the winners of both the men's and women's citizen races are Colorado natives. Jacob White is from Littleton. He finished in 31 minutes and 13 0.94 seconds, outpacing the runner-up by 5 seconds. Laura Thweet grew up in Durango. She crossed the finish line at Folsom Field in about 35 minutes.
President Biden has said that our economy is in recovery mode. We're taking a look at his big meeting today and how it might impact everything from your gas to your grocery prices.
And as your grocery bill gets higher, we have a free way you can learn to grow your own food.